Here at the Trichotillomania Relief Specialists, it's common for us to hear from our clients that for long periods of time, especially before they'd met us, they'd just been really down on themselves because of their continuing challenge with hair pulling. Something that on the face of it you'd think, and even our clients think, they should be able to stop doing easily. I mean, if they really wanted to, right? But somehow they've been utterly unable to do that. Sound familiar? And of course, this is as confusing to the hair puller as it is to anyone else who might look at this from the outside. I mean, even hair pullers know it's their hand, right? Even hair pullers know this doesn't make any sense at all, which only adds to the confusion, the pain, and often the anger directed inwards, directed at herself. Now, you know what people often do when they find themselves continuing to do things that they genuinely hate doing? After this has gone on long enough, they start to hate themselves for it. And that's when they start beating themselves up. Yeah, they say nasty things to themselves, they get down on themselves, they're angry at themselves, and then how do you think they feel? Even worse, right? Now, when do hair pullers tend to pull their hair most? When they're feeling great? Or when they're feeling bad or upset or stressed out? Or maybe bad about themselves? Well, of course, when they're feeling badly. So do you see how this kind of pattern just feeds on itself? If any of this rings a bell for you, do you see how this kind of self-flagellatory reaction to your continuing challenges with hair pulling just makes a bad thing worse? So what do you do? How do you shake yourself out of this pattern of constantly beating yourself up for the fact that you're still pulling your hair even though you hate it? Well, turns out I have some helpful ideas for you. Stay tuned. Okay, so does this scene sound familiar to you? Here you are some months or probably years later, and you're still pulling your hair. You may have done great damage to yourself, your hair, your scalp, maybe your eyebrows or eyelashes or all of the above. And there's no way you can escape this realization. In fact, every time you go to the mirror, you're forced to look at it. I mean, you can't not notice the damage you've done, right? And you're not happy about it. In fact, you're angry, and you're hurt, and you're frustrated. And if you're like most of our clients before they met us, most of that anger, hurt, and frustration has been directed at yourself for your own perceived personal failings. And yet, now that we've begun this discussion, maybe you're starting to realize the cost of that, right? Not only do you just kind of generally feel awful about the fact that you're still saddled with this problem after all this time, and that you still have no idea what to do with it, but it turns out those very emotions actually make the problem worse. Because of course, the worse you feel, the more likely you are to pull, and then the more you pull, the worse you feel. It's the worst possible kind of vicious circle. This is why you need a way to break out of the cycle of thought leads to pain, which leads to pulling, which just leads to more emotional pain, which leads to more pulling, right? If you're going to break out of this cycle, you need to interrupt it at some point. You need to short circuit the cycle somewhere. Now, where do you suppose would be the best place to do that? If you're going to interrupt this pattern somewhere, where do you think would be the best place to do that? Now, for my money, I'm thinking right at the beginning where it all starts. That is, with the thought. Now, it is a repeating cycle, so technically there is no beginning. One just feeds into the next, which feeds into the next, which feeds into the next, and so forth. So maybe a better question would be, where in that cycle do you think it would be easiest to intervene, to interrupt the cycle? When you're already down the sliding board with your bad feelings and now you're pulling? Or maybe before you ever get to that, which is at the level of thought, which is the point at which you are making meaning out of your own hair pulling. Well, I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably the best place to start making changes. We need to get a hold of ourselves at that point and realize that beating yourself up for something, truth is, you really have no idea how to control yet. It ain't going to do anything good for you. It can only lead to bad things. As in, it's only going to make you feel worse, and that's just going to lead to more pulling. So what's the alternative? What other choice do you have? And let's be clear, you do have a choice in this matter. You're beating yourself up because you're deciding that because you're still pulling your hair, that means something bad about you. But is that the only possible conclusion you could draw? Something bad about you? That there's something wrong with you? Could there be any other reasonable explanations for this? Please understand, the labels you place on your experience, the frame you put around the various events in your life, are a choice. You may not have realized that until now because, like most of us, you're going through life on autopilot. Until you learn you don't have to be on autopilot all the time. You don't have to be like a leaf blowing in the wind. You can actually choose the meaning you assign to your life's experiences. You do have the power to do that. So here's what I would say. Look, you know why you're still pulling your hair? I assure you it's not because something's wrong with you. You're still pulling your hair for one reason and one reason only, and that is you just haven't gotten the right kind of help yet. This is not about ability. I promise you, you do have the ability to stop pulling. So what is it? It's about knowing how to make the change you want to make. And you have to be able to get the right kind of help to be able to do that. If you haven't had the right kind of help yet, it's hard to know what to do with this just on your own. Want proof? Well, just visit any of these online support groups for trichotillomania. They're filled with people who have no idea what to do about this. So if anything, you're far from alone. Now, how can you beat yourself up for something that, frankly, almost nobody in the same situation as you would have any idea what to do with? When you're in pain like this, that's the worst time to expect yourself to be able to pull it all together and, I suppose, resist your urges to pull. Plus, resisting your urges to pull until they, go away was never going to be the answer for you anyway. That's why self-restraint, white-knuckling it as we call it, is never going to be something that we teach as a means of freeing yourself from this pulling habit. Why? Because it's not sustainable. That's why. Again, the truth is you need guidance, not judgment, and certainly not self-judgment. And I gotta say, getting down on oneself, this is such a common characteristic among hair pullers, that is, beating themselves up for what they see as a weakness, like a personal failing, a character flaw. It's almost always the case that when we're working with our clients, whether individuals or in groups, we pretty much always get to the issue, the question of self-judgment. We always emphasize the need for understanding and kindness. The same kind of understanding, kindness, and patience you'd offer anyone else you dearly love. A brother, a sister, a parent, a good friend, your child. I mean, if it was your child who was saddled with this problem, would you judge them? Would you think poorly of them? Would you think them weak? Of course not. You do everything in your power to comfort them, to encourage them, to help them find a solution, to offer them hope, not judge them, right? So then why would you do anything different with yourself? Please, be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. I promise you there is a solution to this problem. And remember, you're not the problem. The hair pulling's the problem. All you need is a solution. And with the right kind of guidance, you will break free of this. And by the way, when you do that, what will you be deciding about yourself then? What will that say about you as a person? What must that say about the level of personal strength, power, commitment, fortitude, and resourcefulness you must be possessed of in order to make this change? Being kind to yourself, being patient with yourself is a choice. Here at the Trichotillomania Relief Specialists, we encourage you to make that choice because it'll make everything else you do, including dealing with your trichotillomania, that much easier. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button, and please do subscribe to our channel. We'd love to be able to notify you when we have new content, more helpful videos coming your way. And you know what? Go ahead and hit that reply button below and leave us a comment. Talk to us. How did this video impact you? If you're watching this video at our Facebook community page, please leave a comment there. We'd love to meet and chat with you. In fact, if you have questions about trichotillomania or hair pulling in general, you're just not quite sure where to go for answers, please do visit our website at www.trick-free.com. You'll see a Contact Us link at the upper right of all of our web pages. We do actually look through all the questions that come into us very carefully, just like we do all the questions and comments that show up here at our YouTube channel, and we do our best to answer as many of those questions in these very videos as possible. Again, please do be sure to like and subscribe. We're here to entertain, inform, and most importantly, to empower you to begin taking control of your hair pulling in ways you probably never thought possible before. If you'd like to reach out to us directly to get some information about how we can help you or a loved one, feel free to visit our website at www.trick-free.com. If you'd like, you can write to us at relief@trick-free.com. And you can also call us at any time of day or night toll free at 833-TRICK-FREE. Thanks again for watching. I'm Robert Mantell with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialists. Here's wishing you an amazing trick-free week.